Well, hi there, Internet. My name's Court, and you've got courtside seats for my review of Spider-Man Homecoming. Thwip! Spider-Man Homecoming is directed by Jon Watts and stars Tom Holland, Robert Downey Jr., Michael Keaton, and Marisa Tomei. It's also the first full-length outing for Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a partnership with Sony Pictures. Several months after the events of Captain America: Civil War, Peter Parker, with the help of his mentor Tony Stark, tries to balance his life as an ordinary high school student in Queens, New York City, while fighting crime as his superhero alter ego Spider-Man as a new threat, the Vulture, emerges. Now, before I even get to what I liked and didn't like about this movie, one thing I want to say off the bat is people were really worried about how much Iron Man was going to be in this flick. Dude was all over the marketing for the movie. I'm sure you saw the memes on the internet of like Iron Man 4 featuring Spider-Man. You got nothing to worry about. He's in the movie, but really not all that much. He plays like a mentor role, but he doesn't have a huge amount of screen time. This is very much Spider-Man's movie. So first off, let's talk about Tom Holland. Dude nails it. He is Peter Parker. He is Spider-Man. I mean, if you liked him in Civil War, you're gonna love him in this because it's the same character, but more of a deep dive. You get to know so much more about him. He has this like awe at his powers and the suit that Tony gives him. He's just like a joyful kid who's happy making a difference in Queens and, yearning to be an Avenger, looking after Aunt May, and being part of the debate club at school. Tom Holland is an absolute joy to watch in this film. I had a great time watching him do his thing. Plus, it's also cool. I mean, the guy's an acrobat in real life, so I'm assuming he probably did a bunch of his own stunts, which is always better. Michael Keaton. Now, if you've been around this channel for a while, you probably know that I have a man crush on Michael Keaton. I love him. He's Batman, he's Birdman, and now he's the Vulture. I didn't know a whole lot about the Vulture going into this movie, and I will say I preferred seeing him as Adrian Toomes rather than the Vulture just because I like seeing Michael Keaton's scary face and hearing his voice and whatever. The Vulture does look really cool, but make no mistake, Michael Keaton is like straight up menacing in this movie. And I really got his sort of character's motivation. It was there, it made sense, it didn't feel shoehorned in, and that's good. And this is just kind of an interesting note, a sort of mirror that I noticed. But in Civil War, we learn that Peter Parker is kind of a scavenger. He goes dumpster diving to find stuff to make tech and make costumes. And it's always good when a villain sort of mirrors the hero. And in this movie, we see that Toomes is also a scavenger, sort of harvesting the fallout from the Chitauri attacks in, I think, the first Avengers, and weaponizing this stuff for weapons, tech, what have you. Just a cool little mirror. I thought that was neat. Another thing I loved about this flick is it very much is a Spider-Man origin movie, but it doesn't hit us over the head with the Uncle Ben thing. The movie assumes that we know this stuff. There are a couple of like light references to it, but they really don't go there. This is an origin story in that it's Spider-Man really coming of age, and it is a coming of age movie in a lot of ways, but it's Spider-Man, really learning his powers and how to be responsible. They don't do the great power comes great responsibility line. Again, they assume we know. It's also a high school movie. Peter Parker is like a dorky 15-year-old, sort of navigating the social realities of high school, crushes and friends and academic responsibilities, along with being a superhero. And the movie does a really good job of sort of balancing the superhero movie with the high school movie, but making it feel totally cohesive. It also helps that Tom Holland was, I think, 19 or 20 when they shot this film, so he does really feel like a kid, whereas I think Andrew Garfield was 28 when he shot the first one, and Tobey Maguire was 26 or 27, and it really does make a difference. Now, the score by Michael Giacchino is pretty good. I will say I didn't find myself humming anything when I came out of the theater, but in context, it works pretty nicely. However, the soundtrack of this movie, like the popular songs they choose, it's great. It's not quite Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2, and I've heard amazing things about the Baby Driver soundtrack. I haven't checked that out yet, but it is a really solid soundtrack, and I'm willing to bet it cost them a pretty penny to get those tunes. Now, there are a couple of problems that I had with Spider-Man Homecoming, and one of them, unfortunately, is some of the action beats just kind of lack an oomph, Like, they're not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Some of them for Spidey seem a little unimaginative. They're things that I've kind of seen before. There are some really inventive things as well, though, don't get me wrong. But I did find some of the action just to be like a little bit subpar. There are also a couple of character beats that kind of don't make any sense, and it's by no means a big deal at all. But it almost kind of feels like one character is this way, and then out of nowhere, that same character is kind of a little bit different, like they've had an arc, but like a couple scenes were cut, and it's a little jarring. But really, those are my only two problems with the movie. I really enjoyed this flick. All in all, it's a fun movie. It's very, very funny. It gets the whole neighborhood Spider-Man vibe really, really nicely. It's got tons of heart. It's a really good flick, and if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. Now, I don't have a proprietary rating system as of yet, so I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to give. What am I going to give Spider-Man Homecoming? I'm going to give Spider-Man Homecoming a... That is awesome. Out of 10. So what did you think? Have you seen Spider-Man Homecoming yet? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Who do you think is the best Peter Parker we've had so far? And I guess that includes the cartoon series. Did you like the music? Whatever you thought, hit the comments below. Let's discuss. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like and a share because it totally helps me to build this channel. And if you would like to subscribe, you can do so by clicking the Courtshake logo at the bottom right of your screen. There will be a new episode of The Storyboard, my entertainment news show, will be up tomorrow late afternoon if you want to check that out. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.